daughter of a long-time patient, okay? And she actually finished college, had all sorts of digestive issues, okay? Severe bloating, severe stomach pain. It could last sometimes only 15 minutes. It could last to 2 hours, up to 12 hours, okay? With that, they ran all the tests, okay? They did the allergy testing. She was impeccable about her diet, staying away from the foods that she was sensitive to, or there was, creating an inflammatory response. Okay, she was taking all sorts of supplements. Okay, here's the thing: is that I would say that's awesome that you've done that. Okay, we know that if that was the main cause, if that was the cause, okay, it would have addressed it. So there's something else going on, okay? And with that, what I said is I know that there's an issue in your upper neck, big time issue in your upper neck, okay? And when there's a big time issue in the upper neck, guess what that has an impact on? It actually has an impact on, come on. It has an impact on stimulating the fight or flight response, or has an impact for her. What it was doing, it was inhibiting stomach activity. Okay, and so with that, we addressed what was going on in her upper neck, and specifically, also her entire spine. But that was her major problem. And you know what? She saw such a change in her digestive system. Okay. And with that, she didn't have the bloating. She didn't have the stomach pain. And again, that just speaks to the importance of the nervous system. Okay, and speaks to the importance of the structure of the spine. If the spine is off, it's going to affect the function, okay, of your nervous system. I know that there's a couple guests here. If you haven't had your nervous system, checked, I'd recommend, absolutely let's get it checked. With that, since somebody invited you to the office, we do our first 3 visits. Okay, typically it's $225 for $99. That includes first visit, consultation, exam, any necessary X-rays to see exactly what's going on with the structure, how it's affecting function. Second visit would be your first adjustment. Go over some exercises, and then a test to see how you respond to care. And then third visit is go over results, okay, and recommendations. So if you're like, man, I need to know what's going on with my spine, my nervous system, see Julie at the end. She'll get you. She can get you scheduled for that visit, okay, that first visit, and we'll take it from there, okay. But with that, again, Katie saw such an impact on her entire health by addressing what was going on with her autonomic imbalance. Okay, but I know that there's patients sitting in this room right now that are like, yes, absolutely. Okay, I have seen change in my health. I've seen change with my my body. I've seen change in my spine. I've my neck pain, headaches, those things. But you know what? I'm still having some issues with my gut. I'm still having some bloating. I'm still having some diarrhea or constipation, whatever it may be. Okay, and what that speaks to is that hey, there's some other things that are at play, because we got to understand is that the world that we live in, okay. The world that we live in, our world today, we're bombarded by so many different stresses, okay? From, it's everywhere. From, the food we eat, okay? It's, laden with, antibiotics, hormones, all sorts of things that destroys the gut. Then we got, all sorts of stress, okay? Mental, emotional, physical stress, with the EMFs. We got medication, all sorts of things that affect different systems of the body, okay? And with that specifically, it absolutely affects the gut as well. And with that, the third major cause of poor gut health, okay, is really, two words, digestive dysfunction, okay, and that specifically there's issues itself going on with the digestive system, okay, and with that, in order to have proper digestion, okay, there's got to be, let me phrase it a better way, okay? Domino's?
Pizza?
Say what?
Pizza?
Yeah. I'm not a big Domino's player, but this is an analogy that in order to have proper, digestive function, okay? In order for all, the digestive system to function properly, the first domino has to go down, the second domino has to go down, the third domino, and so forth, and so on and so forth, okay? So with that, the first domino for proper stomach or digestive function is the stomach, okay? And when I say stomach, what I'm meaning is, hey, because again, what breaks down food?
Acids.
What?
Acids.
Acids, yeah, sorry, I didn't hear that. Stomach acid, absolutely. That is what breaks down food, okay? And so with that, you must have enough stomach acid, okay? If you don't have enough stomach acid, what will come on the scenes is something called H. pylori, okay? It's a bad guy. It's a bad bacteria, okay? With that, again, a way to understand, hey, is the stomach, let me say it this way, the stomach is the first domino. The second domino is the small intestine, the pancreas, okay? The third domino is the large intestine and colon, okay? And you may be asking, well, how do I know if my stomach's working properly, or my small intestine, pancreas, or large intestine, colon? And when I say large intestine, colon, really I'm talking about the microbiome. Good guys, bad guys, fungi, yeast, those things, okay? Here's the thing, is that, again, your bowel movements, your stool, can be very telling, okay? Your stool, okay, can be very telling, and with that, really one of the best ways to understand what's going on with the gut is a stool test, okay? And a stool test can give so much information. This is really, and there's so much we can talk about, but to keep it simple, the first page of my stool test looks at a typical medical stool test. So it's looking at things like, E. coli, salmonella, is there, certain parasites, is there adenovirus, norovirus, okay? So that's what's a typical medical stool test look like. Or if you were to go to urgent care or hospital, something like this, this is typically what's going to be ranked. Okay, but there's so much more information that is needed to understand where the issues are arising from. Okay, and with that, again, getting back to the first domino, which is the stomach. Okay. The critical piece for stomach is that there's got to be enough stomach acid. If there's not enough stomach acid, what's going to show up is H. pylori. Okay? Again, a bad guy. Okay? If H. pylori is present, that first domino, that stomach domino, is not going down. Okay? So if that first domino isn't down, you cannot have proper digestive function. Okay? So with that, again, I'm trying to keep it simple, but pretty basic. The second domino is the small intestine, okay, or pancreas. Okay. So again, with that, in order for food to digest, we have to have enough stomach acid. Okay. Stomach acid is absolutely critical. I'm gonna kind of go and step into something here.
Poop.
Not poop. but with that being said, oftentimes I hear that, oh, but But yeah, I understand, stomach acid is important, it helps digest food, okay? But with that, if I have too much stomach acid, I'm gonna have what?
Acid reflux.
Reflux, okay? So I'm just gonna, again, this is how my brain works, okay? If the body absolutely needs stomach acid to break down food for us to be able to absorb the nutrients, how can stomach acid be bad? Okay, so that's one thing. Okay, that's one thing I'm going to say. I'm going to just challenge some thinking here. How can it be bad? With that, what typically is the cause for stomach acid, and most people think that, or reflux, most people think that the issue with reflux is that it's coming up. Okay, it's coming up. It's the north end of the stomach. But really what the research is showing is that most reflux is happening at the south end of the stomach. And what the problem is that the stomach hasn't broken down the food, or the acid hasn't broken down the food, and with that it's entering the small intestine. And with that, it almost hits a brick wall. So it's trying to get into the small intestine. It's hitting a brick wall because it's not broken down. And with that, it comes back into the stomach, and it creates a reflux or indigestion problem. Okay. One of the issues with that, okay, or a reason why that can be happening is because of the second domino, the small intestine. There's an issue with the pancreas, or the digestive enzymes that the pancreas releases. And so all that to say, this part of the stool test gives us an understanding of what's going on with the small intestine, the pancreas. Hey, can that second domino go down? Okay? Then with that being said, then the third domino, okay, is the large intestine, the colon, the microbiome, okay? And again, what's the microbiome made of?
Good, bad.
Good, bad? Yeah, absolutely. So bacteria, good, bad. Viruses, fungi, yeast, okay? Even parasites, protozoas can be in that as well. And so here, okay, again, the stool test that that I use gives us so much information, because it gives us understanding of, hey, what's going on with the good guys? Okay, is there proper balance, okay, of the good guys? Okay, and with that, as you can see for this person, Amanda, there's all sorts of imbalance going on. Okay, here's the thing, and I'm going to challenge on one hand, let me take a step back. Okay, can probiotic are probiotics beneficial? Yes, absolutely, because it affects the good guys. Does everyone necessarily need to take a probiotic? No. And let me tell you why, okay? And really, how I know is that, with that, the strains, the most common strains in probiotics is Bifidobacterium and Lactobacillus, okay? So like Amanda here, she's got all sorts of imbalance going on in her, in her good bacteria, but her Bifidobacteria is normal, her Lactobacillus is normal. So then, does she need to take a probiotic?
But if she's taken one, how do you know that's not the result of her taking the probiotics?
So, with that, I mean, that does, can play a part. Absolutely, I'm not gonna, it's hard to know if she's taking one, what's what. But with that being said, if she wasn't taking one, and I see this, I'm like, yeah, this is great. You don't, your body doesn't need a probiotic. Okay. Again, hear me. Can probiotics be good, or are good? Yes, they are. Does everyone need a probiotic? Not necessarily. Okay? And with that, I'll say it this way. The best way to influence the good guys is actually to have an impact on the bad guys. Okay? And here, the third page of the stool test is really looking at the bad guys. Okay, And this can be, strep, staph, Pseudomonas. There's so many different things, but really it doesn't matter which strain it is. Okay, it just, hey, is there a plethora of bad guys? Okay, and with that, if we want to see less than detectable here. If we see numbers there, not good. Okay, that absolutely shows that, hey, the bad guys are winning. Okay, and with that, we need to get those guys under control. Okay, and here's the thing: is that the bad guys. Okay, there's actually research that shows that there is certain bad guys that have been, through research, shown to cause autoimmune issues or have autoimmune triggers. Okay, and again, we want to see all less than detectable. If there's any numbers that shows that, hey, there's a potential trigger for an autoimmune issue. Okay, and then with that, we can look at yeast, fungi like Candida. Is it present? Are there other things going on? Viruses, Epstein-Barr. Again, looking at the bad guys. Again, getting more information of what's going on, what needs to be done, and with that, being said, that's really a way to understand. Okay, a pretty easy way to understand what's going on with the digestive system. Okay, is the first domino, is it going over? The stomach. Is the second domino small intestine, pancreas? Is it going over? Is it, or is it the third domino? Okay, is it the microbiome or the good guys, bad guys, large intestines, colon? So with that, that's just something that that I can do, okay, to identify if you're having issues, and it could be any type of health issues. It doesn't have to just be diarrhea or constipation. Again, the gut has such an impact on the immune system, the brain, hormones, all of that. I just the best way I can kind of summarize this is actually Stephanie had a patient that was supposed to be here tonight. Unfortunately, she had something come up. She told me actually last night that she wasn't going to be able to make it, but she goes, I'm going to write an email and just kind of letting the people know what I've noticed, what I've experienced. Okay, and so this is dated Thursday, August 12th. Actually, she gave it to me today. So this is Stephanie. I had gut issues since I can remember. As a kid, I had strep 2 to 3 times a year that came with many antibiotics. So many, I eventually became allergic to penicillin, then Keflex. I struggled with alternating constipation and diarrhea. I also struggled with weight. I'm going to preface, this is a long email, but again, it speaks to so many different issues. In my early 20s, I began having recurrent UTIs. Okay? I was also diagnosed with HELLP syndrome, which is believed to be an autoimmune related. And when I was 29, I had strep again, took a round of Zithromax, which immediately resulted in full body hives. I saw a regular doctor, then an allergist, had multiple rounds of allergy tests at that time, nothing conclusive. I was put on daily Clarinex to control the hives. If I skipped even one day, the hives would recur. I was also I was still experiencing recurrent UTIs. As they continued, they got worse. I would go from, listen to this, I would go from no symptoms to blood in less than an hour. Okay, and no homeopathic remedies worked. It was antibiotics every time. They increased frequency to 3 or 4 times a year. She said that went on for 20 years. I saw a urologist who said that some people are just prone to UTIs. She did an ultrasound to check for physiologic abnormalities and found nothing. So she suggested, get this, antibiotics on a preventative basis. I took them for 6 months. During that time, I didn't have a UTI, but I became allergic to macrobid as a result. I went back to the allergist in 2012, seeking some explanation or a plan to resolve the hives. More allergy testing, tons of blood work. I had low reactions to some foods, but nothing explained the extremely high IgE results on my blood work. Clearly my body was inflamed, but there seemed to be no good reason. To make matters worse, my rheumatoid factor was on the rise and I was experiencing swollen and painful joints in my fingers, knees, feet. UTIs still happened about 4 times per year. I went to another urologist who suggested ultrasound, all sorts of tests, a cath to see if my bladder was draining appropriately, and I don't even remember what else. Everything came back negative. He made this suggestion that I had pelvic floor insufficiency, so they prescribed physical therapy. I went, but the UTIs continued. The fight with my weight became one that I had determined that I would just lose. I had tried keto, Trim Healthy Mama, low sugar, low carb, HCG. I did lose with HCG, but it wasn't sustainable and the scale continued to creep upward. At my annual physical in 2018, blood draws again showed increased rheumatoid factor and I was referred to a rheumatologist. She did more blood draws and a short physical exam and determined that I wasn't yet in full-blown RA. She did say though that folks with high rheumatoid factor early symptoms often go on to develop RA in earnest. She told me to come back in a year. Mid-2019, next year, I was at the highest weight I've ever been. I had blood pressure. I had a blood pressure episode that landed me in the ER with a potential cardiac crisis. I went home on blood pressure medications. If you're keeping count now, I'm taking blood pressure medication, Claritin daily, and I'm allergic to all sorts of major antibiotics for strep and recurrent UTIs. It wasn't until 2021 that anyone suggested a stool sample, and that was Dr. Ryan. The first time in almost 50 years of gut symptoms, recurrent strep, recurrent UTIs, potential RA, allergy symptoms, hives, you name it, so many blood draws, tons of other testing, not a single doctor ever suggested a stool sample. I won't lie, it was pretty nasty. Maybe one of the nastiest things I've ever done. I've raised 5 children, so that's saying a lot, but the results were beyond eye-opening. I'm literally running around with a rampant E. coli, staph, and parasites in my gut, some of the major causes of recurrent strep and UTI. Interestingly, my immune response markers were low, and so were my good bacteria. Such a complete picture so quickly and with one test. We started a regimen of gut health supplements geared for reducing the bad guys, increasing the good guys. Within a couple of weeks, and she goes, a couple of weeks, exclamation point, the constant bloating that I had fought most of my life was much improved. I was the most comfortable I had been since I don't know when. I was thinking about how I always had to hold a pillow over my belly for some of my, for some form of pressure. I hate tight clothing. I could start the morning with all my pants feeling loose, and by early afternoon, it would feel like they were cutting me in half. All of those symptoms were so much improved. It was like a miracle had happened. She also goes on to state she hasn't had a UTI since February. Okay? She goes, I know we have a ways to go. The gut issues I've had since I was probably 2 have created an environment that will take time to heal. But it's the first time in all the rounds of doctors, blood draws, allergy testing, and medication that I actually felt I had a prayer of finding a lasting solution. Was it gross? It sure was, but 100% worth it to shine a line on the actual path to healing. So again, just somebody that did the testing. So with that being said, if you're sitting here and you're like, yes, I've got an issue. Okay, I'm not sure what it is. What I would recommend is let's sit down and talk, and let's do a personal health consultation. Okay, let's do a personal health consultation. Do a deep dive to see if it's something that we can help with. There's all sorts of yes. I do stool testing. I do blood work, male, female panel, hormone. Neurotransmitter. There's so many different things, but with that being said, it really gets back to normal physiology and restoring function. Okay, and that's what it is. Okay, And with that, the thing about health and these identifying these problems, these issues, okay, is that to restore health, restore function, restore physiology, it takes time. Time and consistency. I wish I could snap my fingers and have all the problems disappear. It doesn't happen like that. You didn't get in the problem that you're in overnight, it's not going to go away overnight. Okay? And so with that, it takes time, consistency. With that, if you're like, yep, I want to, schedule a personal health consultation. All of you have a packet, okay? With that, the green sheet, there's the first line, the personal health consultation. With that, it's there that we'll sit down, discuss further, what other issues that are going on, okay? And the first thing that is to determine is if it's something I think I can help with, okay? Just by what you're telling me, if it's something that I think I can help with, okay? We're going to move to the next step in the health consultation, and I'll say this: if it's something I don't think I can help with, there's not going to be a fee, okay? But if it's something I do think I can help with, and with that identify certain tests that need to be done, okay? With that, that testing will set us on a trajectory to create a game plan of really what your body needs to restore normal physiology, normal function, okay? And with that, the cost of that personal health consultation, is $100. With that's the first line here. If you're like, yep, I want to do that, just check that off, okay? And then just put that in the bin, okay? Also, with that being said, again, I talked mainly about the stool test. But here's the thing, is that the stool test, okay, can give such great information, okay? And what I find is that a blood work, okay, really gives a 30,000-foot view of what's going on with the body, okay? But the stool test fills in a lot of the why behind what we're seeing on the blood work, okay? I know that there's some people that have had the testing done. I'm curious, was there some blanks that were filled in for you guys?
Yes.
Some blanks that were filled in, and again, it's what's interfering with normal physiology, what's interfering with the function of the body, okay? And that's what it is. With that, if that's you, just check it off, put it in. With that, we will call on Monday to get you scheduled. You can get a consultation form that you can fill out and bring to your consultation. Julie has those forms up front. Okay. With that, again, the personal health consultation, it can be hormone issues for women, males, okay, digestive issues. There's so much that we can gain answers to, and frankly, it can be something that we can do, yes, in office. It absolutely is something that I'm getting requests from people to do it virtually for people, family members out of state, and that's absolutely something that I can do as well. Okay, but with that, if that's you, just fill out the form. Also, with that, all supplements, on ML supplements and on the supplement price sheet, 10 to 15% off today. Today only. So if there's any supplements that you want, again, put the sheet back there. And then with that, if any, guests would like an appointment on the chiropractic or spine and nervous system side of things, absolutely see Julie, and she will get you scheduled for those first 3 visits. Again, for that's $99. So with that, again, the testing can give some great information to really why behind what you're experiencing. But again, it's critical. Everyone's going to benefit from reducing the inflammation in the body. Lowering blood sugar. Eliminating the gluten. The soy, the dairy, and the sugar. Okay, stay away from processed foods. So that's one thing that I encourage everybody to do. So with that, I'm finished. And again, see. Oh yes, yes. Thank you. I almost forgot. Okay. So we have a. I'm sorry.
I just want to check, did any family not get one of these?
Yeah. Did anybody not get anyone? So we have two raffle items. And each one has a vitamin D3 probiotic, and each has a book, The Genesis Factor. So with that, the first winner is 481143. Woohoo! Brenda. Nice.
All right, cool.
Okay. And then the second.
Missed it by that much.
1139. Dean. Awesome. Great. Awesome. So with that, we are finished for the evening. Yes.
I have a question real quick.
Yep.
It's about probiotics.
Yep.
If you don't need probiotics, but you're still taking probiotics, is that bad? Does it have a negative effect?
It's not necessarily a negative effect. Is it possible that it could create some issues in the balance? Possible, but I wouldn't say it's a bad thing. So.
You just wouldn't know unless you took that test, that stool test.
To know if you need probiotics.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the best way to know, because with that I am seeing experience is that yes, some people do need probiotics. Does everyone? No, they don't. Okay, so. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
Are there other supplements that would affect the testing? So to make it a fair test, should you stop all of your supplements prior to the testing?
Let me say it this way: is that I would encourage people to get tested. If they want to stop taking the supplements, absolutely, they can stop taking the supplements.
Just for the test is what I was thinking.
Yeah, I really, with that, they can absolutely stop taking the supplement. Is it something that I'm like, no, you've got to stop? Does it have that much of a bearing? Not
Well, there
necessarily.
obviously has to be other supplements that are affecting other parts of the testing. That you may or may not need supplements as well.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
So can you just do the test if you're not having issues?
Yeah,
And
certainly.
then go from there?
Yep. Yep.
And how much is the test?
So with that, it just depends on the test, what's going on. I will say it this way, a stool test is 2